Hello, welcome back to another sports rant. This episode today is going to be exclusively on YouTube. So go ahead and click the subscribe button right now. Like if you like the content. If you like, go follow me on Instagram and X for more. I make sports content, sports news. I react to them. It's at Another Sports Rant for both of those. I just sit here and rant about sports. We have a fantastic time. I try and do some new, trying to do some new things. I'm having a lot of fun with this. Today, this one will be like exclusively to YouTube. I'm on the road. All I have is my phone. I don't have my computer with me, so I won't be able to record the audio as well. So go find it on, this one will be exclusively to YouTube. But we have a lot of news that just hit the press right now. Let's just hit the, I mean, not the press, it just hit the feeds recently. Keeping up with the sports news this week has been like trying to chase your dog when they have something in their mouth and you don't know what it is. It's probably bad for them. And you're like, shit, get over here, get over here. And they're running away really fast and you're trying to just keep up and grab and pull it out of their mouth, and it's disgusting and slobbery, and that's what it's been like so far. But it's been a blast. This morning, Myles Garret requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns in probably the most like respectful, like, hey, I know you guys need the cap space kind of way. We'll probably do a more deep dive into the Luka trade, because there is a lot more to unpack there. That's probably going to be one of the sports stories of the year. De'Aaron Fox is now a San Antonio Spur for pretty much a bag of chips. Sacramento kind of just let him walk. There's just a lot going on. I really want to start with this Myles Garret news first. It's the most recent. He's requested, like, where is he going to go? What's his fit? What's the best fit for him? Immediately what came to my mind was either the teams with a lot of cap space and probably will need a defensive piece. Like Myles Garret, a reigning defensive player of the year. He's a stud. Probably. First one that came to mind was the Raiders, because could you imagine him and Max Crosby on the D-line? It would be practically unstoppable. The Patriots, who just have tons of cap space and will probably have to pile on some different. He would just be a nice veteran piece if you draft Abdul Carter with that number 4 overall pick. And just kind of like teach him the ropes, and then also just being studs on that D line. Otherwise, like there's like more realistic ones is like he wants to go play first. He mentioned in his farewell speech, in his farewell his letter to the city of Cleveland, that was he wants to go win a Super Bowl. So that also brings up to mind some team, like some of the teams going to have to really overpay for him. It's going to be a wild experience, but it's probably going to be like the Lions, the Commanders, probably in there somewhere. I wouldn't count out the Chiefs, because you know what? They would. Of course they would. Who wouldn't? Myles Garrett's a stud. And like you have as Chris Jones that, could you imagine that? Could you imagine Chris Jones and Myles Garrett? There would be pandemonium in Twitter. Everybody would be like, it was rigged, this is horrid. And it's like, guy wants to win a Super Bowl. If you want to win a Super Bowl, where do you go in the last 20 years, 25 years? You go to New England, you go to Kansas City. That's just that's really what the reality has turned into. It's like, you want to win a championship. It's obviously what he wants to do. Go where the pickings are ripe. And I think that's probably Detroit. Detroit is probably his best fit, because him and Aiden Hutchinson would kill it on the line. I don't know if they can pay for him. I don't know what their cap situation looks like. They'd probably have to they would probably have to move some pieces, probably like Kirby Joseph or something like that. They would give up something on like they would have to like give up something for him for sure. But maybe as their first round pick, I would trade their first. Like if I'm the Lions, like you're picking like 26th, I give them the first round pick. I'd give them probably like a dependency, another first round pick, and something else like the Lions that works really well. I think would work really well for. They need that defensive presence. Like they obviously missed it this year, even with Hutch being injured and stuff. Like we'll see how he comes back next season. What happens with that? What's it like? The Commanders would be a really good spot for him to land too. They need this is like the worst they'll be, and if they add a piece like him, insane. That'd be an insane addition. Also, like it's where he wants. Like he can probably pick where he wants to go, and the Browns are just going to just find a way to trade him. If he wants to go to L.A., if he wants to go wherever he wants, like I think another good spot for him to land would be Tampa. A good organization. He'll get paid. They have a good defense. He would make it insane. He would make it the best. Like any defense he goes to will probably like if it's on a contender. If he goes to a contender or like a perennial contender, he will make them the best defense in the league, no doubt. That is like almost a given. Anyway, we'll see what happens with that stuff. When it comes to this De'Aaron Fox, I don't want to transition completely. This is complete like 180 here. When it comes to the De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs, this was like it was really in the aftermath of Luka. So everybody's like, this isn't really big deal. Zach LaVine has obviously got traded to Sacramento for some, weird. There's always like some three weird stuff in the NBA. It's not just like I give you guy for picks and some stuff, and there's always some weird three-way kind of trade going on because of like capish. Because I think it's because of the way they have to like structure it to like pay or like the fairness of it because the NBA is so fluid. But De'Aaron Fox on the Spurs, I've talked about it before with Chris Paul, with Wemby, is going to be it's going to be pretty good. He's obviously, his forte is kind of an older school style of basketball where he just gets to the basket really well. That's probably what he does best. But like in Sacramento, he never had he had one really good playoff series that they lost to the Warriors, who eventually went to win the finals that year. But still, it's like that's your accomplishment. You want kind of like what we're seeing here with Myles Garret. It's like you want to win. You want to win a championship. That's what everybody's dream is. And you were at the Sacramento Kings or the Cleveland Browns. That really doesn't happen. So go somewhere where you're gonna win one. You might have to take a backseat kind of role. You might have to but he still will be a threat. He's gonna be a starter automatically day one. And I think that Chris Paul is probably one of the best influences. He's lost a lot of his big prowess, but the base and fundamentals of his game have stayed the same. It's just dimes, just consistent shooting. His game really doesn't age. It just kind of he's just old. And he's moved around a lot. So he knows, Chris Paul is probably that's going to be really good for De'Aaron Fox, just being, just moving around, in transit, in that transition period, because he'll retire here soon, for sure. But Chris Paul, that is. But that's a nice fit. The Kings are still rebuilding. That's Zach LaVine. while he is a good scorer, like he is like he's like discount Carmelo Anthony, where like it's like, oh yeah, like 60, like he's like scored 60 and had like no other stats. It's like if I wanted crazy good scorer that's does nothing else, give me Carmelo over Zach LaVine. Get him in the dunk contest, that'd be cool, but reality check, it's just like he's not an insanely good player. Sabonis is still there in the Kings, like for the Kings. He's like a great rebounder and stuff. He's probably gonna be like, yeah, I went out too. But anyway, that move also like affects the Bulls too. Like the Bulls have been rebuilding for forever now. They just got Lonzo back, which is, I mean, salt in an open wound right now. It's just like they've not been good since the 90s. Since the turn of the century, the Bulls have been mediocre. They had Derrick Rose, and then he tore his ACL so tragically. So it's like what do you do? It's you got to move forward. You got to move past like the Michael. Like, yes, you had the greatest player of all time. Now it's time to you got to get the here and now done, and they just got to fix it. It's got to be fixed. I don't know. I'm not an NBA GM. I'm not sure how you fix that, but we'll see. The Spurs going to look really good for. I think the Spurs are right a team. Like if it's a stock, you obviously are, like it's probably going to be pretty pricey now, but like you're still buying them for sure. They're going to be free agent like Candyland because of Wemby. And that's impressive for Wemby just in general, because getting free agents, getting guys requesting trades to go play for you, to go play with you, that is legendary stuff. That is stuff that LeBron, Michael, Kareem, Magic, Larry, it's like those guys. That's that kind of level. That's that level of greatness right there. And he has that potential. He has that potential to, like, when he comes out of this, to be like, oh yeah, and we think of him as like top 10 all time. And segueing into that, another guy who can, if he stays to this regiment, if Luka, if he stays into this, I think with the Lakers, with LeBron probably will have the best influence. This is the best influence Luka has had since Dirk, his rookie season. The best player he's played with, and it's like, yeah, like Dirk was like, was old Dirk. But this is going to be like LeBron. He plays like LeBron. It's going to be this insight. This is great for the NBA. Because we were talking about a viewership problem. We were talking about Jimmy Butler being like a pain in the ass, and now we're talking about we want to see Luka and LeBron play, and oh my God, the Mavs are a joke. Like, oh my gosh, the generational, like, people are talking about it now. We were worried, like everybody was like, oh my gosh, the NBA is so stagnant and dry, and there's nothing, not like viewership is down historically. This is the boost they needed. And I think the Mavericks GM is taking it on the chin. You go scrolling through Twitter, it's like, this is the... What it got me thinking of actually was like the Capital One commercial. Is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than, like, banking with Capital One, the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than trading for Luka Doncic, right? That's if I'm like Capital One, pay me for that one, because that was the best idea I've had all day. It's like the easiest decision in the history. That is like the easiest decision. It's like Can you imagine the fact that Dallas initiated this trade. Dallas's GM called Rob Pelinka and said, "Yeah, do you want Luka Doncic? Do you want the healthy, when he's healthy, top 3, top 1 kind of guy?" We forget, last year in the playoffs, he led in total points, he led every statistical category, including steals. And we say, "Oh, he doesn't really play defense." He's like, well, yeah, he's kind of bad on defense. Some guys are limited. It happens when you're a really good offensive player. It kind of takes a back seat. So he led every statistical category, totals, every single one in the playoffs last year, and you just traded him for essentially a bag of chips. No offense to Anthony Davis, he's a great defender, and I love Anthony Davis. You're not gonna win this way. We saw it yesterday. The Cavs put 90.5 against the Mavericks without Luka, but it was also without Anthony Davis. But still, the team was in shambles. There were people protesting outside. They were protesting outside the Mavericks stadium. They were comparing this. This was compared to an NBA 9/11. This has got to be something. The Mavericks this is an internal thing. The paperwork signed. Luka's in LA. They're printing jerseys. They're going to be printing money here soon because their ticket sales and league pass is going to get bought up in the wazoos. The league needed this, though. The league is better when the Lakers are good, and the Lakers just got another star for foreseeably minimum 5 more years. 5 more years of his prime. He's only 25. That's another thing I want to do some more parts onto this because it's really insane what happened. Because this is the wildest trade in maybe sports history. Just everything unfolding. We'll see how it unfolds. We'll be watching. But again, just oh my gosh. Go check out the Instagram for the post-pod clarity. See you later.